What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
CB myself.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm Jim Green.
Don't even need a hit of traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One set.
What's up, everybody? On June 2nd, I will be releasing my next single, Here and Now. You can pre-save it right now by clicking the link in the description and be in the running to win this free lyric tee, The Stars Are Shining Bright for You and I, which is a lyric from the song. And another special thing, once I get the 25 pre-sales or more, I'll be releasing the official music video for Here and Now. So you got 2 chances to be winning a t-shirt and getting some free content even before the song hits the public airwaves. So make sure you click the link in the description, get your hands on a pre-save. You'll be notified either through text, email, or Facebook Messenger on release day, and that's June 2nd. I'll see you on release day. Thanks, guys. Yeah, man. So how goes it?
So I had my phone in my pocket while I was teaching because a couple of the studios I teach at, they use like Bluetooth, and like I'm navigating the music on my phone. I'm tucking it in my pocket, moving around and dancing. It flew out and landed face down. And immediately I was just like, oh no, hopefully like the center's not cracked. So I pick it up and I look at it. I'm like, oh no, it's fine. It's totally cracked on the bottom corner and it's spidered all the way across the bottom and all the way up. And I'm like, damn it! What the? What the F, man?
That's what happened to my last phone. I was doing like, the normal, like kind of like moving around, and I jump and the phone jumps out of my lab pocket flat on the ground and just shatters the whole thing.
Jeez.
And that like never happens. Like anytime I'm like just like moving around and stuff, and I just do like a jump to something, it just jumped right out of my lab coat pocket and just like whoo. I needed a phone anyway, so then it kind of just gave me the notion to go ahead and buy a new phone, which is the phone I currently have.
Yeah, I'm due for, well, it's kind of like you can upgrade whenever, because Verizon's like, you can trade in, and
yeah,
like they just tack on the fees after the fact. But I've had this one for probably 18 months. So I'm like, all right, it's not like a brand new phone. So I'm kind of like, I could probably trade it in, but I'm also like, I mean, if it's just gonna be it's not like a crack on the outside where like my fingers are getting cut while I'm like touching. It's kind of like underneath the surface, at least at the moment. Right. So I'm like, I think I'll just ride it out for now. So that's what I'm gonna do until it's like I can't see, the phone can't function, I can't call or text or send memes to you and everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had the iPhone 8S before getting the 13, so do the math. That's like a 4 or 5 year span between models, and I knew there wasn't going to be much of a difference other than like, the camera, the size is somewhat similar. I got the 13 Pro, not the Max, so I got the middle grade of the 3, and obviously features are a lot better. I mean, you get the updated camera because now you have 4K capabilities, and which I was able to shoot my music video in. I shot everything using my phone, and hard plug, if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys pre-save my my song right in the description, Here and Now. It's coming out on June 2nd. And if I get 25 pre-saves before June 2nd, I'm going to release the music video before the release day. So go hit that pre-save button, share it out. Would
I did
greatly
that
appreciate that.
pre-save. I think what's today? Monday. I think I did it Thursday or Friday because I was just like, oh, he'll get those
Sweet.
25, and then I was just like, that doesn't mean I shouldn't. So
Yeah, I'm just
yeah,
about
yeah,
halfway
yeah.
there.
So I was like, I'm gonna do that. Granted, I know like you would send me the song probably last night through email if you just wanted to share it with me, but I want to be there right with everyone
Mhm.
else when we get the debut. Just like all of those 10 to 15,000 fans that went to the Taylor Swift concert didn't pay for a ticket and just stood outside in the road and got the free show.
I was just
You
gonna
heard about
say,
that, right?
yeah, there were
Yeah.
so many people outside, like the Xfinity. Yeah, one of my musician friends was out there, and she was just the one of the many people who were out there, like near Xfinity, just listening to Taylor Swift. And I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, but it's just amazing how you would stand outside of a stadium to not see the person you want to see, but just listen to the whole concert, and that's enough for you. But the whole stadium was like jam packed.
Yeah, I saw like people online who attended, and I actually, I actually, I actually reached out to someone because they posted a picture of like the stadium where it was full, like the wraparound, and then because
Yeah.
behind like the Titantron, like the stage, it was like butt naked empty, right? And I was just like, wow, look at all those tickets
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
sell. I was just being an ass.
Right.
Like I didn't care. She's like, yeah,
No.
look at all those seats, but look at the 15,000 people that are standing out right by Xfinity Live, like just getting a free concert. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I just didn't think. I didn't think. I know she's popular, but all right. Let's talk about and
I didn't know she had fans like that would necessarily just stand outside of a stadium for.
so you're in the music industry, and like me being in the dance industry, like I know like some people that are big names, but like I just didn't think that Taylor Swift was like on that level of like she's clearly like on an iconic level, and I don't buy it. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
I'm just and maybe that's just me being a guy and my age. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think she doesn't cater to guys our age and our style.
I have students that like rave about her and ask me frequently, "Can you play her? Can you play her?" And I'm like, sometimes like I want to be like the cool teacher and like gain the popularity and be like, "Okay, fine, but I'm only playing the
Yeah.
songs that I like of hers." Because when they're like, "Can you play this by her?" and I'm like, either one, I don't know that, or two, no, I don't like it. And when
Right.
you're a dance teacher, you get to pick the music you play. Have fun, right? and
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
is what it is, right?
It's like, when I'm playing my shows, there's people that come up to you and they're like, "Oh, can you play this song?" And I'm like, "Well, I could if I knew how to play it." Like, "Oh, well, just wing it." And like and there's people out there that can just wing it and just go right off of a blank slate and play whatever they want. But that's not my type of playing style. I usually like to at least give it a minute to listen to it and see if I can repeat it as best as I can. I'm not good at like winging a song unless I know it like very, very well. And I can just, there's only one or two times that I've been able to just wing it on a song. And for that, it's like, sometimes like, okay, well, I'm up here. I mean, there's times where I gotta cater to the audience, and there's certain songs that I play that I know at least okay, feeling the crowd out. But like in the same way with you're saying, like, but I'm the one, I'm the teacher, so I'm going to kind of preference the songs that I want you guys to dance to. And when it's your turn to come up here and be in my spot, you can pick the music.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing with like kids requesting songs. Um like I said, I try to play 50-50 where like I banter towards um hey,
Right.
I don't want you to feel miserable and like you can't request songs, but I also don't want you to feel like I just have to play everything that you want to hear all the time. I mean, it's kind of like being a parent. I mean, and I'm sorry, scratch that, erase that, because I totally am not one. You are, but I was saying that kind of seeing if you could relate to that on that spectrum where it's like you want your son to have everything in the world, but at some times you're just kind of like, well, just because you want it doesn't mean it's the right answer. And then you have to kind of like put your thumb on it, right? I don't know. I don't know if that analogy is even close, but
No, no, I totally agree. Before I had an idea that you just put in, but it's like one of those things that if you start catering to one student, then it's like then you got to cater to everybody. So it's like I'm just not going to do that for anybody's, because if you say, oh well, he got to pick one this week, let me get this one, then everybody's got to do it. So it's like, okay, I'm not even going to start this.
okay.
You know?
Here's my favorite number one response that I have to that. And this is with the new studio that I literally just started teaching at 3 weeks ago is, and I don't know if kids are just like
Yeah.
yearning for validation or if they're like, hey, look what I can do, or am I doing it right? The if I'm doing it right kind of thing, it's where I feel really bad shutting them down. But I'm like, if I watch you
Yeah.
by yourself right now, I have to do that to the other 20 kids in the room. And we just don't have time for that. So this is where we all do it. And I have
Yeah,
to
and you never get anything
spread
done.
my eyes
So,
out across the room and then say, I think you're wrong. And this is where you're wrong. And then I try to correct the one person. And then someone from the other side of
mhm.
the room is like, did I do it right? And I'm like, my eyes only work in so many directions. And I feel like an insane person, right? It's just, it's part
Yeah,
of the job, man. I
no
mean,
pressure at all, right?
I'm sure Jen, um, feels that. I mean, granted, she is dealing with young kids all the time, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Better her than me. I would never be able to deal with kids, other than my own. That was kind of weird to say.
I,
I could never deal with kids. I mean, I have my own, but
I
yeah.
could never do the kid thing. I mean,
Yeah, but no, I could never like teach like kids in a classroom. Like that was one thing that my parents like never really instilled, to be like, we have been in the school district business and we want you to do that. Like they never really like were like one of those parents to be like, we want you to follow our in our footsteps, to be like part of like the school and be in the school district business. I mean, they were just more like, hey, as long as you get a high school degree and go to college, that's fine.
yeah.
But anything after that, do whatever you want. Just at least get your education. But that's why I kind of fell in love with this whole science thing and the music, and I never really took a liking to teaching. You know,
You have such like a fine balance in your life, and like that's something that I have kind of always been really jealous of you about is like you are well adjusted and you have, like I don't want to say a safe job in a bad way, but you have a safe job in the right way. And you've been there for like ever and you are still following your passion
I
with
know what you
music.
mean.
Yeah, yeah. And you're still following your passion with music, and I'm like, yeah, he's got it. And he, you know, settled down, married. Dude, your wedding was so fun, by the way. For anyone who wants to know, this guy's wedding was one of the best weddings of all time, right? And for me to be there,
Stop.
stop. No, seriously, like I had so much fun at your wedding, man. And like I think even just doing like the photo shoot beforehand, and because sometimes that can kind of feel like a chore, right? But I was just like, I'm so grateful that I am here with my best friend in his day, in his moment, marrying his best friend, not me. Um, Dang, could you imagine if we got married? That'd be pretty cool.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, clip
Wait,
it.
wait. Okay. So by the whole process of clip it. By the whole process of video editing, we'll put in the edit of you and me doing our whole dance together. If it doesn't work out, we won't put it in, but we'll put it in right here.
I mean,
But
you jumping up on the floor and doing the backslide. I was like, you better get it, Ant. You better get it, bro. and this is
dude,
me. This is me standing there. I'm
dude,
like,
get it. I almost fell on my ass. I look back at that video, and if you guys just saw it, like I hit that first one, I almost I almost just ate whoopsie in the first 2 seconds.
dude, you were, I saw you stumble over your feet, and I was like, it's his wedding day. Nothing can go wrong. They're married and they're just enjoying themselves. They're having the time of their lives right now. And I was just, like I said,
But it was awesome though because nobody expected it. Everybody expected you to go up and just do a
yeah.
piece, and I think everybody once they saw you get the mic, they're like, okay, he's gonna have to do something. So he starts going, but then me and you had that kind of eye contact, like we're gonna kill it. And then once he came out, everybody just lit up, and that was cool.
If anything, it was one of those things like I approach all of my projects like super differently, like depending on what it is. And knowing that you were going to come up and join me on the dance floor, I was like, all right, this song will be right. It'll feel cool. It'll be cool, calm, collected. Do you remember the song we did?
Yes. It was the Michael Jackson and JT song.
Love Never Felt So Good, right?
Love Never Felt So Good, yeah.
So I was basically like, I felt like the material, like the choreography that I like built for myself to dance to was like really subpar in comparison to like what I would normally do. But I was also like, this is not a for me thing. So I'm just kind of out here laying the groundwork. So it was all building up to the moment where you joined me and we were up there. I think your mom absolutely lost it because she was just like, oh my God, Anthony's dancing with Jim right now.
Yeah, because we told nobody.
Nobody. And it was so awesome. It was so awesome.
Nobody knew. We told nobody. I think my mom may have gotten maybe a hint because you and me were kind of like practicing a couple of our steps, like pre-wedding time when everybody was at the venue.
She probably
like you were going through the movements. I was kind of going through the movements. She knew something was about to happen, but she had no clue like what the whole thing was about. Right. But yeah, mind you, everybody, Jim had thought of this idea like not even 24 hours before the wedding started. We were up at like 12 midnight going over these steps, and my brother was supposed to be in there, but he ended up getting he's not much of the performer like you and me were, so he ended up saying, I have to do the best man thing. I have a speech, and that was even tough for him to be out there in front of people just doing a speech. So he's like, I don't want to have to think about doing a dance plus doing a
No,
speech.
and
I'm out. So we're like,
and
okay,
he
respectfully, that's
he
fine.
absolutely got the speech down. Like, he did the speech better than I could, and I was standing there listening, because, like, okay, your brother, obviously, right? And totally
Mhm.
should have been your best man. And I'm standing there like, I couldn't have done a speech any better than that. Like, if he had done like a really lame speech, and I stood there and was like, really, that's all you had,
Don't let me
would be
just clean this
different.
up
But I was
here. Like,
like, I knew. No, but like, in all honesty, I stood there and I
no,
was just
no.
like, my eyes were watering, and I was like, okay, Chris just got it done. And I was like, I knew that the dance that I was about to do was a thing, and that you were going to come up and dance with me, and we were going to open the dance floor. And I
Yeah.
was just,
And that couldn't have been there couldn't have been no better way to open up like the remaining part of the night than doing that. Everybody just filled that floor for the rest of the night.
yeah.
And when I tell you, when I go to a lot of Jen's like family functions, at least one person almost every time I go to her function talks about our wedding and talks about that moment and brings you up and says like, "Hey, are you still friends with that guy that you dance with?" Like they always talk about that moment. That's one of the moments they always talk about.
And that to me is just, oh, jeez, wow. I don't want to get like emotional in front of everyone, but like, just thinking about, like,
Mm.
it's been my passion for like, oh, jeez, like 30 years now, almost my entire life. So knowing it's not just, hey, I showed up, I learned how to dance, and now I just teach kids how to dance. Like, knowing that I can help create these memories, especially with you, like my best friend and my brother,
Yeah.
like, and that's still a thing after the fact. That is just so fulfilling, rewarding. It's so awesome. Like, it's just something we were like, let's,
There couldn't have been anything better just to open up the rest of that night.
yeah, yeah. I mean, um, let me see. You,
So kudos to you, my friend, for thinking of doing that.
oh, dude, you got married June 7th, 2014, I think is your anniversary, right? Um, like,
Yes.
I built the routines for my older sisters when they got married that basically did the same thing, and it like opened up the dance floor. And I mean, when you talk about weddings, it's like, what really stood out, what really set that event like apart from, oh, I'm going and someone's getting married and we ate and there was some dancing and then we left. Pardon me. Sorry. Um and it was never about like building routines or doing a thing to be like, hey, this is about me. It was more so like, how can I make this memorable for my
Right.
sisters and for you. It was just so fun. And I remember like my sister's wedding dance. I don't remember the choreography. I shouldn't say that, but I remember, people after my older sisters got married and the years like that surpassed after that, they'd be like, people still talk about that dance at the wedding. And it's like you said, you don't run into a family function where people aren't like, you still talk to that dance guy? And it's like, that to me is like, it makes
Makes it all worth it.
I've talked about on here. I've talked about on here before about how I got picked on so much because I was a male dancer in my young years. And I
Mm-hmm.
always turn around and I think about those moments and I'm like, it was all worth it, you know? So,
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I got to give a shout out to the DJ slash it was like a band DJ mixture called Best of Both Worlds. I got to give it up to them because, obviously anybody who's planned a wedding before, you're planning these things out months and months in advance, and they had everything down to a T with how our night was going to go. And they were cool with you being able to go up and just tell them that day, say, hey, I had this little segment I'm going to do. I had the music right here. I just need you to cue it up when I come up to you. And they were cool with it. They did it right then and there. I got to give a shout out to them for just going along with the day of little mixture to put in. Because most people might not want to do that. Say, hey, we have things curated, and this is going to be, from time to time to time. We can't fit anything else in. But they were no questions asked. They were cool as hell with it. So I got to give them a shout out to let us be able to do that and not have any, time restraints. Like they didn't be like, all right, well, do this, but you only have like 5 minutes. They let us go and they let you do a speech. Cause I didn't know you were going to do a speech. And I just thought you were just going to go up and, just say like, hey, blah, 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 then start, going doing a dance. I did not expect the speech. And then, we both went up there, did our thing. And, what else? There was another person I wanted to shout out with it. Oh, the photographer, her name was Barb,
Mm.
Forevermore Photos. If you guys are in the area, make sure to check her out. I forgot to tell her that we
Are
were
they
doing
are
that.
they like Swedesboro, Jersey natives, like local to that area, or
They're in PA. PA. I think they're Hatboro, or I think they're right
okay?
outside of Philly, but they're decently local. But yeah, I totally forgot to let them know because they were doing videography too, and I totally forgot to let them know that we were doing this thing. And once we started, like you were doing your dance thing, and once I came out, I think she had told her husband at the time to say, "Hey, flip this on because we got to get this real quick." And they got it just in time as I was going in, and we started everything. So that's the only video we have of you and me. And she actually said, and she posted it and said, these are moments that we love as like a business to be able to capture these moments. And she said, and also if there's any wedding parties that are planning to do this, please let us know so we can capture the whole thing. We were just glad that we were able to capture this part of the moment because they did a whole full
Well,
segment
and
of it.
just shout out to them, honestly, for acting like promptly on the spot, not like having the heads up and knowing it was going to
Yeah,
be a thing, but they were like, oh shoot, we need to like
right.
get this, and they reacted
Uh-huh.
immediately. So yeah, shout out to, you said, what was the company again? Forevermore. Sorry, you hired them,
Forever
not
more
me.
photos.
Okay, yeah. um,
Yeah, it's all good. I'll put their links and everything
yeah.
down in the description. I'm not sure if I think Best of Both Worlds is still in business, and Forevermore Photos is still in business. They did Lil Ant's first birthday pictures, so she still does photography. She actually did. Oh no, that was somebody else did my photos. But yeah, she still did a couple photos here and there for Anthony, and so we did work with her. after the wedding. But yeah, fabulous work. So I'll list her down in the description if you guys are in the, you know, southeastern PA area listening to us, any of our friends and family who are, you know, looking for professional photos, make sure you hit her up and, you know, let her know that you know, the One Set Bros sent you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dude, as much as you know, we plan on talking about these couple things, I am not excited. Like, I'm literally not looking forward to having this conversation with you. And like, to our audience, dude, it's really like, you know,
It's like
we're
we want to talk
Philly
about it, but it's
sports
like you
fans
don't
out
want
here.
to. But yeah,
We've literally been putting it off, obviously, for almost half hour now.
120. Yeah. Even then, like the more like
It's
24,
close.
48 hours of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But here we
well,
go.
here we go. Well, your boy here, um, had a bet with a friend of his who is insanely optimistic about his Philly sports teams, and I said if they go to Game 7, they're losing, and he insisted, nope, they look too strong. So I'm getting a free case of beer out of it. So thank you to, I am not saying your name over here,
Easy,
but
easy, easy money. Easy money. I'd
easy.
have bet a beer or two.
Yeah, a beer.
I'd have got
I'm
him 10.
getting uh, I'm getting a case out of it. Because
Yeah.
that was how optimistic he was about, like, I mean, and it was not a bad bet. I mean, after the game 1 win in Boston, and then after the game, the game 5 win in Boston, I was like, they're gonna
Yeah.
get this done. And they needed to get it done game 6 in Philly, and then they didn't. And when we say they,
Nope.
because we haven't even said the name of 76ers yet, that's who we're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Jeez.
Spoiler.
I don't know. Spoiler. I mean, between the Phillies losing the World Series, the Eagles losing the Super Bowl, the Sixers not making it past, what was it, round 1, or like they can't make it past the second round of the playoffs ever, except for when Allen Iverson
In
was playing 22
well,
years
they
ago.
did make
2001.
it to the conference finals, and they did make it recently in 2013, I believe. They made it in past the second round in 2013, but never since then they've haven't got anywhere close. They've always been knocked out in the first or second round. And I was listening to WIP this morning,
Yeah.
and I do got to agree with the morning show that out of like what you were saying, the Phillies not winning the World Series, the Eagles not winning the Super Bowl, coming so close, the Sixers, this thing has to be the worst feeling because, you know, the Eagles have been doing their thing. The Phillies have been doing their thing. The Sixers are different because they've been going through this process for the last 10 years. This is where I'm going to start rambling on. They've been going through this process for 10 years. And, you know, they started with you know, picking, and I don't have the names in front of me, but like they through the majority of the draft picks they went through, and 9 times out of 10, most of those draft picks are not even in Philly anymore. They last for, you know, 2 to 3 years, and they kicked them to the curb. And you know, they picked up EMBIID, and we all knew the story. I mean, I was never the biggest EMBIID fan. I've never been behind this guy. I've always said he doesn't come in conditioned every year. He has never played, and not many guys anymore play a full season. But he'll play a couple games, he'll get hurt, he'll be out. He'll come back, play a couple games, he'll get hurt, he's out. He's never been a consistent basketball player for me, and that's always been something I've been telling people, that he's good, but he's not as good as what other people make him out to be. And when he won the MVP this year, I was like, why? I mean, it's for the regular season. Not the MVP is not for the playoffs. It's for the regular season. Cool. But I'm like, this game 6 or sorry, this game 7, game 6 and 7, but mostly this game 7 proved to you, and I'm going to pull a wrestling move, without a shadow of a doubt, that Embiid, this is my opinion, people, so cool it, that Embiid does not deserve that MVP. If you were an MVP caliber person, you should have been able to guide your team no matter what to win that game 6. But when the time comes, Embiid is never there. And it was the same thing with when him and Simmons were on there. When it didn't go his way, he would stop playing. And you can definitely tell in game 6 and 7, when even in the last like 9 minutes or 6 minutes of that game 6, where the f- was Embiid? He did not do anything. And he even said, I didn't touch the ball much the last little bit, so I should have. That should have been the one thing to say, hey, I need to turn it up in this game 7. Your season's on the line. You're going to get into the Eastern Conference Finals. A lot's lying on this. Possibly even your here's the thing. Everybody's saying Embiid needs to go. I agree, but I think he's going to be the one that stays. I think Doc might be the one that goes before him. But a game 7 in that situation, you should be doing whatever you need to do to win that game. And he just flat out gave up. Now, Tatum, on the other hand, he had 51 points. He doubled the amount of points that Harden and Embiid, they combined. Harden and Embiid had 24 points together. Tatum had 51. He doubled their amount of points. So, I mean, again, and I'm sorry to take up a lot of time here, but this is my frustration with Embiid, and I think I've said this a lot on the podcast, that I don't believe he deserves it.
I want you to sound off so much about all this because, like, I'm frustrated as like an openly, honestly bandwagon jumper, like, oh, the Sixers made it to the playoffs, now I'll pay attention. I'm that guy. Sorry. Whereas the Eagles and the Phillies,
I got a little bit of hope. I was doubting them the whole series. The game 5 that they won, I'm like, okay, I mean, they need one more game to win. So I got a little bit of hope. Say, we are game 6 in Philly, one of the biggest games of your season. You need to pull it out. And they let us down, just like they always do.
Yeah.
Oh! and they let us all down, just like they always do. When the time comes, they always fail.
I think I first and foremost just want to say thank you for putting Joel Embiid in his place, because I feel this way as a bandwagon jumper, and I'm just like, is he as good as? Jeez, I can't even say the legendary names, like, because the answer is no, and
No.
it's almost a disgrace, especially
whoever you were going to say. I was going to say no anyway.
no. And like, I'm over here, like, my friend that owes me a case of beer, thanks, bro, who swears by him. I'm like, no, if he can go out there and prove himself, and aside from that, should we even mention game 1 where they won in, like, the Sixers won by flying colors without him? And I was like,
yeah,
that's because Harden showed up and 45 points. I was just like, yeah. Yep. I wonder if this team plays better without that clown. Seriously, like, that's how I felt when that happened. And then when he came back and played, and then we just lost the series, I'm like, pretty upset. I mean, I'm gonna let you show it out, but that's how I feel about it.
Like I said, Yeah, I agree. Harden showed out in game 1. Everybody was like, this is the Harden we've been waiting for. 45 points, leading the team. Game 2, where the hell did he go? It's like in Space Jam where they took the powers away from him, he just was nowhere to be found. I think he didn't even have 10 points in the second game. So again, that's another thing with people being complaining about Harden is, he's a great player, but when, the clutch times come, he doesn't move up to the plate. And you can tell even in game 6 and 7 that Embiid and Harden at the very end, mostly in game 6, Harden and Embiid were trying to grab a lot of fouls to get to the foul line. They were really putting a lot of emphasis into getting on the line, but the refs, and I got to give it to the refs a little bit because they were trying not to call a lot of the flop fouls. I'm not a big fan of the flops, so I'm glad they didn't call every little stupid flop foul, but that was getting Embiid and Harden off their game. And I think that's what ultimately cost them the game in game 6, because they were so worried about where's my foul that then, Boston was going down and scoring points when they were complaining about not getting a foul. And then they would give up and blah, blah, blah. Where, game 7, halftime comes, they're down by 3. I'm like, but they had a 9-point stretch that they were up. And they're known for blowing leads. But
yeah.
So I'm like, all right, they're still down by 3. They're still within the game. But then within the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, Tatum opens fire. And there was no answer for it. They tried double teaming him. He would just pass it off somebody else. 2, 3, this, that. They had no answers for it. And the Sixers just shut the down. And I turned that off.
Yeah,
I was done, and the third quarter wasn't even done. My dad turned it off. He's like, "I hope you don't mind me turning it off." I'm like, "No, you did the best thing you did." Like, I didn't want to see that show anymore.
He's like, "Yeah, happy Mother's Day. We ain't doing this."
Yeah,
and I mean, that was
happy Mother's Day burn.
That was. What do you want?
Yeah,
No, but that.
All right, I'm not watching TV anymore. What do you want, Burn?
All right, all the love to Burn, but yeah, probably like that.
Yeah,
but that was like I literally watched the first quarter and a half yesterday, and like I messaged you, I was like, we're up by 10. They might do this, and then once they just. Like you said, they basically gave up. Like they just stopped trying. I was like,
once they were up by like 10 or 15, I'm like, yeah, they're going away. I'm done.
I was like, my nieces are asking me to play hide and seek right now, and I am not denying them of this time being an uncle. I'm like,
nah, yeah,
I'd rather
important.
spend the time with you. I prioritize that wholeheartedly.
I'm sure that was way more entertaining.
It's kind of a thing. Like I've found really, really, really like obscure hiding places in the house and also outside. That's why like when they come over, they're like, Uncle Jimmy, will you play hide and seek with us? Because they know I make it fun. I'm not boring about it. I'm like, let me get creative, and
yeah,
it's so fun. And I was like, that was more worthwhile to me. And, even if the Sixers were winning and they really wanted to, I'd be like, game 7, win or lose, they needed to get this done game 6 anyway, from me.
Yeah.
I still would have been like, of course, let's play. So yeah.
Yeah, and like we were saying earlier, I mean, with the Eagles losing in the Super Bowl, it sucked. They lost in the Super Bowl, but again, I mean, they lost to Patrick Mahomes, so I mean, they were up against like odds themselves. But I think the Sixers are just different because they've been in the same situation for the last couple of years, and they just can't get over that hump. And every year you think, they're going to do it. Oh, they look different. It's been the same formula, same thing. They give up. They get to where they need to go, and they give up on everybody, and then they just make excuses. and I'm just done with it. I think the whole process is just a big fail at this point.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think Doc Rivers needs to go. That's just me. I think you need to sign. I think you need to sign Maxey to a long-term deal because that guy.
That's
I
the
think
only
he's
person I would
absolutely
probably keep because
fantastic.
he's the only one that I
Yeah,
felt actually came to
Whoopsie.
play.
yeah, and
One, and
I'm
he's young
watching
too.
him like
So
he's in the paint and doing these layups, and then he's also sinking these 3-pointers, and I'm like, why can't any of our other guys be that level of consistent? I'm like, Maxey's our guy, and
he's in the paint
like
more than your biggest like person on the team.
it
He's
doesn't
taking
make
rebounds more than
sense.
Embiid, and
Like
he's the one shooting.
I'm just like I said, get rid of Doc Rivers, sign Maxey to a long-term deal, and I will watch the Sixers like game to game through the regular season. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I don't know why everyone's putting so much stock in Joel Embiid. I get he's good when he's good, but he's also crap when he's crap. And like that's all I
yeah.
really have to say about that. Like
And people are saying like, oh well, we can't win without Embiid. Like, we haven't won with Embiid, so what's the
Whoopsie.
point if you're going to keep him? You're not going to win, so you might
no,
as well
no,
just
no.
throw him away. You know?
We won. No, no. That's bull. We won game 1 in Boston without him. So that argument doesn't even hold at all.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
I'm not here for it. Mm-mm.
I'm okay if they just pull the plug and say, hey, they're not going to get rid of everybody, but I think what's really going to decide the factor is in the
Doc
upcoming
Rivers.
draft. In the draft too, that because I don't know what lottery pick they have. They're not going to be in top 10. They're not going to get a good draft pick, but I think it just depends on what they're going to do in the draft. But the Sixers are known for not having really good draft picks. So I'm not going to be surprised if they just blow the draft anyway. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I think they just need to tear this whole process and, just rebuild or do something, because you're not going to win with Embiid. And again, you can't tell me that they haven't put in his head to be like, you need to come in better next year with better conditioning or doing this, doing that. You can't tell me that they've tried to get this guy to do anything to improve his conditioning. And he just doesn't. I feel he's never been in a good condition any of the years that he's been a Sixer. And I mean, again, there's gonna be a lot of people who, if they actually do hear this, in a long term sense of us talking about Embiid, and there's gonna be people that want Embiid to stay. That think he's the best thing since sliced bread. Cool. I don't agree with you, but and there's going to be people that agree with me saying he needs to go, and I agree with you. I think he needs to go there because I don't think there's going to be any benefit with him staying in Philly. They might give him another year or two, but I think this is the biggest standpoint to be like, this is just something that we're going to have to just live with, that this is how the Sixers are going to be until something turns around.
Yeah.
Ooh, that felt better.
Feel good to get all that off of your chest right there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Basketball, NBA. Jeez. And it's one of those things, right? I mean, we had the episode about after the Eagles lost. Granted, the Eagles lost by a field goal in the Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes.
And they never gave up. That's the thing. They never gave up. I mean, the defense had some errors, but they came back in the end. They tried to win it at the end. Sixers just totally ghosted everything.
So let's talk about some things that we haven't talked about.
Let's.
First of all, first round. Wow, Eagles swapped out their number 10 for the number 9 draft pick, Jalen Carter.
Oh yeah, I mean their
Oof.
draft was. There's people mad
They,
about how
people
good
are
the
like,
Eagles did in this
it's
draft.
not even fair, right? Like,
Yeah,
and that's why I'm
like
like, wow, you're so NACL, so table salty right now.
yeah, like the Sixers general staff just needs to watch the NFL draft for what the Eagles did and just need the blueprint that
Whoopsie.
to do that in the NBA draft because they need to do something in this draft to kickstart this franchise again. Because the
Yeah.
Eagles just came into that draft like a boss, just said, "Hey, we're taking over this shit." Ugh. Like, say something, say something.
Say something.
We're taking over. Say
What?
something, say something.
And
Huh?
then
Say something. Yeah,
and
with
then
10 pick, I think we're gonna be ninth. Say something. Say something.
yeah, and I don't even like. I'm sure someone that is listening to us in years from now can confirm like how that swap out happened. I don't know. They did what they did, and we got not only Jalen Carter, but we got Nolan Smith too, and I think both are from Georgia, and they're both defense.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about defensive, not fumble rooskies, but like we were lacking in the defensive department, especially in the Super Bowl. So picking up those two in the first draft is, I think, why people are so bent out of shape. They're like, that's not even like fair. Seriously, like I don't know.
I
They
think we
announced
got coined. I think we got coined as the Philadelphia Bulldogs after that, with all the Georgia picks that we got.
all the Georgia picks we got. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be a good season. I mean, hopefully a lot of those rookies get some time, and I think they should. I mean, we'll see what they do in the preseason. But yeah, I'm looking forward to how the Eagles are going to respond because they definitely have a decent schedule coming up, and we can talk about that as the season gets closer. But they definitely have some challenges, and I think it's going to be a big test for Jalen Hurts this year. And I think he's hungry enough to be like, "Hey, I've smelt Super Bowl, championship feelings, and now I'm ready to go take it." So
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
we're going to be getting a Super Bowl within these next 2 to 3 years, if not sooner.
I would confidently say 3. I, I, I.
It's hard to do back and back unless you're a Tom Brady. So I'm not going to be too mad if they don't win it next year. But I would like to say, like you said, I think within the next 2 or 3 years, I think the Eagles are going to win another Super Bowl.
I think that we're gonna wind up suffering like a loss in like conference finals. Like I think we'll go to the playoffs, but I feel like we might
Oh
lose
yeah,
to
we'll
another
definitely
team.
be playoff contenders.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
definitely gonna kill our division this year. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And like I said, I think we have a bye week up till I think our bye week is at week 9 or week 10. So
No.
I was looking at the schedule or something.
Yeah, we're gonna do our picks right now. As like,
You want to do them now?
hey, we're gonna do them right now. Yeah, just for funsies.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hold on.
I think my original pick was like what 12 and 4. But then I changed it to like 10 and 4. So I think my original pick was like almost like closer to the one that they actually did.
I was like, I think I was like an optimistic 8 and 8, 9 and 7, like somewhere like closer to the middle. So yeah, let's do this. Okay, week 1,
Right.
we're at the Patriots. I'm gonna go with who's the Patriots quarterback now? Mac Jones.
I'm taking us winning the Patriots, beating the
I
Patriots, because the
I think
Patriots are
I
definitely not what they used to be.
I'm just gonna
Yeah, I would.
message. I'm messaging you on
That's
my phone.
in
Just
New
in
England,
New
but
England.
I'm still confident that the Eagles can pull that first week 1 win out of it.
Yeah, me too. We're hosting the Vikings after that. I'm gonna go with we are winning that one too.
Same.
Same. At Tampa Bay. Now, I don't even know who is the Bucks. God, that is some shoes to fill after Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with that's an Eagles win again because I think that they're just gonna eat poop for a couple years until they get their poop together.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Commanders the next week. I would say, we're hosting the Commanders. I think that's an easy win too. So we're still we're undefeated at this point.
division. I usually go with we just trade 1-1.
Yeah.
So I'll call that a W. And if it's not like a fair share kind of thing, like I always think Cowboys, it's a 1-1. Giants have been kind of solid the past few years, so that's like a 1-1. Commanders, I just think have been not great recently, so I'm like, we could probably take both of those.
Right.
Week 5 is the Rams. I'm going with we're beating the Rams.
I'll say that we have our first loss with the Rams.
Okay.
I think
And
that's where we get our first slip up.
all right. Well, yeah, and they are also at the
Because it's
Rams.
in LA.
Mm-hmm. Well, the next game, this is kind of like the talk of everything because Aaron Rodgers is now the Jets quarterback. We're playing at the Jets in week 6. So I'm
Yeah.
actually going to go with we eat the L on that one.
I mean, I'd say we can probably beat the Jets because, even though Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback, they still have some mediocre play. I have to. I can't really say mediocre. I don't think they have any superstars on the Jets. So I think it's going to be, we're what? That's going to be week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, week 6
6. Yep.
into Aaron Rodgers' new team. Potentially, so you would think he would kind of be on a roll at that point, but who knows? Because he's going through a new team, new batch of receivers that he's not used to. So I think he's going to struggle a little bit.
Okay, so I'll actually agree with you to an extent because we host the Dolphins week 7. And the last time I went to an Eagles game, we hosted the Dolphins, and the Dolphins killed us. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's right. The Dolphins
So
were good this year, and I think, from what I remember, I think they lost in the playoffs, or did they make the playoffs, or I think they got knocked out of the playoffs or something.
They were
forget what
close.
happened
They
last
were
year.
close, is what it was. I'm just
Yeah,
calling the both
but
of
they
them
did
a
have
loss.
a really good season.
Yeah,
I'll say a loss for the Dolphins as well.
Yeah. And so we're at the Commanders the next one. Jeez.
I'm saying win. Like you said for the Commanders, I think the Commanders are going to be the least quality team out of our division. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say we do 2-0 for the Commanders.
Okay. That's fair. Okay, let's get to Dallas
These
next week.
Next 2 games. Woo.
So okay. So we have the bye week after that. So I'm gonna say we eat the loss to Dallas in week 9. And then we need week 10 as our bye week to rejuvenate. Oh wow, yikes!
I'll say we'll. I mean, with Eagles being at home for the Cowboys, I'll say we'll beat the Cow. I think we'll beat the Cowboys at our place. It's usually tougher when we go to Dallas.
Yeah. Let's zero in on weeks 11, 12, and 13 because we are at Kansas City doing the Super Bowl rematch.
Yeah, that's
And
gonna be the
that's a
game to
loss.
watch. You think we get a loss? Well,
that's a
yeah, it's
Monday.
in Kansas City, so yeah.
That's the Monday night game. It's going to be crazy. We're
Oh
hosting the
yeah.
Bills after that. Oh
I think we
jeez.
take. I think we take a. I think we take a
that's
loss to that. That's going to be a good game between quarterbacks, though. That'll be another awesome QB game to watch.
so the Bills are like. So Cheyenne is obviously like a Steelers fan, but
Yeah,
the Bills and Josh Allen have been like our team outside of our like home teams that we've rooted
Josh
for.
Allen versus Jalen Hurts is going to be really good.
Yeah.
That'll
San
be a fun
Francisco.
watch.
Now we're hosting San Fran. Oof. I'm gonna call that a win.
I'm gonna say it's a close win for us. It won't be an easy one, but I think we pull it out at the end.
Yeah. And then we're at Dallas after that, which I think you said we're gonna beat Dallas at home, and I think I said that we're gonna lose at home. So I'm just gonna counter and say we'll win in Dallas. And you'll say, yeah, we're definitely gonna eat the L in Dallas.
Yes.
Then we're at the Seahawks. Oh, I'm calling that a loss because I think the Seahawks are just too strong for us.
You think? I mean, I think the Seahawks have kind of been a little mediocre.
We're in
It might
Seattle,
be a good
is the
pull away.
thing.
It might
So,
it might be a good pull away one. But yeah, it's kind of like a 50-50.
and then we host the Giants. I'm gonna call that a win.
Yeah.
And then we host the Cardinals.
Win.
And win. And then we're at the Giants in week 18, and we're gonna, if we are already postseason contention, we're gonna play second and third and fourth string. So I'm just gonna call that a loss.
Yeah, depending on how the season is. Yeah, depending on how that game is. If we're looking to be, going into the playoffs that next week, we might not even be playing our starters, or we might just get a couple runs out of them. And yeah, so
hang on, I'm just tallying up my W's and L's here.
yeah, like I said, it's definitely going to be a challenging year because I think we have, we have the Chiefs, we have the Bills, we have the Dolphins, the 49ers, the Rams, Buccaneers, and Patriots. A lot of teams that we don't usually see in the regular season. So it's going to be an interesting year. But I think we have a hungry team that is going to be, and we got a decent amount of people coming back that have a high probability that they want to win a championship with Jalen Hurts before they retire because they see it coming. So,
well, and
from the reports, I have big hopes for it.
From the reports, it's Jalen Hurts shows up with a briefcase and he sits down and he's like, I'm here for business. Like, he is 100% like, I am not taking this lightly. Like, I am here to put forth the work. So, like I said, I think in the next 3 years, it's going to happen for us. Yeah. I now have us going at 10-7. I can see 11-6 or even 12-5 like happening.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's going to be anything. I can definitely
go between the 10 and 12. Yeah, I could definitely go between the 10 and 12 wins.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's going to be like any less than that. Let's be serious. Like 9 wins, that doesn't seem reasonable at all. Like, I think we'll do way better than that.
That would be a pretty painful year if so.
I think 10 is the minimum. I'm also like, hey, remember when the Dallas Cowboys were 13-3 and lost in the first round? Like, it's just a matter of get to the playoffs
Exactly.
first and then
Yep.
go from there.
We them
You know?
boys.
Yeah. Are you though?
Are
Um,
you? Are you?
are you? Dude, let's do some wrestling talk real quick before we sign off for the
Yeah.
evening. Now that we've gotten basketball and football, I mean, baseball is still very early yet. We can
Yeah.
talk about it, or like we can hold off on that one. Wrestling, wow, there is some stuff going on, and I just want to tell you, I have barely paid attention, which is
Nah, I
different for
didn't get
me.
to watch SmackDown. I did see that AJ Styles beat uh what was it, Edge and Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
So I was surprised to see that. And then he later that night went on to face Lashley and beat Lashley.
Yeah, it's.
Or
I
correct me if
mean,
I'm wrong.
I had Edge
Because
winning.
yeah, Lashley
I
faced Theory
had
and somebody else. Yeah.
I had Edge winning the entire thing, and for him to get written
Yeah.
off,
Uh, yeah, I was very
it
surprised Edge didn't win that. We both had Edge going pretty far.
because so many people were like, "Oh, it's obviously Seth Rollins," and I'm like, they gotta pit Seth against someone that makes us feel like we don't know which way it's going. But
Mm-hmm.
Seth versus AJ definitely feels very like AJ's not winning. Like, come on, like I don't know. I was initially very disinterested in this whole new title thing entirely. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was like buying into it a little bit. The tournament was cool. And I really wanted Edge to win it and then eventually drop it to Finn Balor and
Right.
like write that story. Um, so the whole Seth versus AJ thing, I'm like, it'll be a cool match to see, but I'm like, it just feels like they're handing it to Seth. So I'm like a little less intrigued. Um, they're doing the whole. I don't know if you know about like the tag title match that is going to be Seth or not Seth. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns and Solo
Roman
Sikoa.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you're gonna put a tag belt on Roman, and you're gonna play the whole he's carrying around these 3 belts and he's looking at Jay and Jimmy like you lost these at me. Like if you're doing that story, that's cool and everything, but like only if you bring it full circle and Jey Uso winds up beating Roman Reigns for the belts. Like that's what I'm here for. Let Roman beat like
Right.
Dwayne Johnson. Like I'm here for that too. I totally am. But
Mm-hmm.
they need to make the whole bloodline like weird abstract storyline like actually makes sense, and then I'll be like, okay, you did your job correctly and you're good, and I'll be
Yeah.
fine with it. But I just like I think you and everyone else, I'm just tired of Roman Reigns being the head guy. I'm like, it's been way too long and I'm bored. I'm over it.
Yeah. I think with the whole bloodline thing, I think they're just slow rolling it. I would like to think they're slow rolling it, but it's just more like I hope they really don't mess up this way that they're trying to break up everything and they just make it like all of a sudden they're all already broken up. But I think what they're doing is just slow rolling it. And like I think what we're eventually getting to is like something that's going to be happening next WrestleMania. So I think they're just trying to slow burn everything and make everything, you know, uh, stretch out amongst this next 365 days to be able to, you know, have this big conclusion next year. But, you know, because it's starting with the Usos. Obviously, they're going to have, you know, the Usos against the Bloodline in some type of way very soon. Uh, then Solo's going to have to be the next person to, realize something. And I think it's going to eventually be the Usos doing something with the bloodline with, you know, Jimmy first trying to do something, then eventually Jay obviously being the one. Like I said, I think we both agree that Jay has to be the one to take down Roman eventually. If it's not going to be Cody, if it's not going to be Sammy at this point, because they obviously didn't pull the plug on either of those, the better way to end this whole saga with Roman Reigns, the picture perfect whole thing would be for Jay to take down Roman, because he's the one that recruited Jay into it, was the first one. So it would make the most sense to end it by Jay dethroning the head of the table. I think
Yeah,
that would be the best thing to do.
it's got to be the move. And
If you want the biggest payoff, that's the best thing to do.
And I can appreciate like the long term like build to that. It's just, I mean, 2023, we haven't had like a long term champion like this. I mean, the last one for me is, and probably for you, is Brock Lesnar, where he had the belt and just sat at home and didn't show up ever, and everyone's like complaining about it.
Yeah.
Now people are saying the same thing about Roman. And I'm like, yeah, no, he was actually like very present and around a lot.
Yeah, at least we're seeing him on TV, but it's like, he's only defending it half the time, but at least he's on camera. He's at least, trying to be relevant. He's not staying at home with a belt and being like, okay, well, I'll come back when I'm ready, So
Yeah.
it's a little bit different, a little bit of similarities, but differences as well.
I gotta say, like the Cody and Brock match, I won. I didn't love it, and honestly, it just feels like they're trying to make Cody feel important without making him the guy, because they're like, well, Roman's got to be the guy, and they're like kind of putting their thumb down on him. And I'm like, oh, so you're gonna put him in a feud with Brock? And I was like, that's cool, but like the feud just felt, I didn't care for it. I don't like, I can say so many uglier things about it, but I'm like, I just don't care. And for him to get that like awkward pin on Brock Lesnar, I was just like, I was like, this literally closed out Backlash, and the Bad Bunny and Damian Priest match was just light years way more fun.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So much better. And granted,
I was talking about that with a buddy of mine, that Bad Bunny is, along with Logan Paul, is one of the better celebrity wrestling guys that they've brought out. That at least, I'm obviously not a big fan of his music, but the whole promos and everything. I mean, he's not as good as Logan Paul on the mic, but as far as being an in-ring entertainer, he brings it. So, I mean, I'm very, entertained by the fact that he takes it serious, and he's just not going in there with, half training and taking it half serious and just acting like an amateur. Like it really looks like he took the time. He likes wrestling. He takes it serious to learn the moves, to learn the aspects of everything, and he knows the spots. And, that's what you want out of a celebrity person going there. I mean, obviously, with a lot of the celebrities, they don't know the ins and outs of it, so they're just there for the exposure. But like a Logan Paul, like Bad Bunny, they love the business, so they know how serious this is to the natural, wrestlers that are there, the wrestling fans. So, I'm glad that we have those two people to look upon that, if we know that it's not a regular wrestler, we know we're at least going to get a good match out of it. And, speaking on the terms of the Cody and Brock match, now you're obviously just going to get Brock beating the hell out of Cody at Night of Champions. So then you're going to get a third match to determine, okay, this is the all for all. You got to win. I got to win. So now we're going to do one more to even the score. Like, this is going to be the last one, just like a typical 3 out of 3 one. So it's like there's going to be no reason to watch the second match because Brock's going to get the win. So what do you do there then? Like you're saying, you're trying to get Cody to be relevant. So they're trying to be like, well, we're sorry we didn't give Cody the win at WrestleMania, but here's a win against Brock Lesnar. Now he's in a feud there. So we're trying to still keep him like hyped up to be like, okay, well, he beat Brock Lesnar, so he probably deserves another match with Roman eventually. But then he's going to get his butt kicked by Brock again at Night of Champions. So it's like, you're just going to keep flip-flopping him and everything. So I think they just lost the lackluster with Cody.
I'm just bored. I'm bored. I'm honestly bored. Like,
yeah,
I don't have any genuine incentive to watch it right now. And they did the draft, which to me, I'm like, you've done the draft before, and people just jump ship show to show anyway. So like, I'm like, why do I care about who lands where?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm glad they did finally take a lot of NXT people and brought them up. They did utilize bringing up a lot of NXT people, which was nice. So you're getting fresh faces. Cameron Grimes, awesome to see him on SmackDown.
Yeah, we love him.
That win against Corbin. Yeah, I love his whole persona. It's awesome. So to see that he got his first SmackDown debut win, that was cool. And because Cameron Grimes, I felt he was like one of the ones that got left back with like, when Adam Cole got up, Finn got back on the main roster, a lot of those guys that Cameron Grimes was back there with, and he just got left back. So I was glad to see that he finally got, the main roster push.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like Braun Breaker is like the big guy in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
He was the previous champion. Jeez. I forget who the current champ is.
Yeah, I forget his name, but
I'd pull it up, but
it's okay.
Carmelo Hayes, I think is
I think it's something like that.
Carmelo Hayes, and then Wes Lee is the North American champion, I think.
Okay.
But Braun Breaker, like everyone was expecting him to be caught up, and he wasn't. And I was like, well, you got to keep some strength in NXT, which I think is what they did.
Keep some of those people down there.
I think that's what they did with Cameron Grimes. They were like, you're really good. You're like on that level, but like we kind of need you to maintain the strength in NXT, and I think that's why they kept him there, right? Yeah,
which I'm okay with. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's fine. You know what's really irritating though about like, Roman and his title reign is like, I am not excited for Money in the Bank because it's like that's either a failed cash in or you're cashing in on whoever the world heavyweight champion is, and everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because why would they take the title off Roman? Because they're clearly trying to keep that title reign longevity a thing, right? Like the Royal Rumble, even the WrestleMania match next year with whoever Roman faces, I'm like, you have to sell me on something else, because I don't think he's and. I read something that was like, oh, for him to surpass Hulk Hogan's 1,400 plus day reign, he needs to hold the belt through September of 2024. So I'm like,
Jesus.
then what are we doing here? I'm like, what are we doing?
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
and this is part of the reason why I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time even tuning in. Like, I put it on at 8 o'clock and I watched, jeez, Shinsuke Nakamura versus The Miz. And I was like, this is just such a Sunday Night Heat house show match. I was like, I don't care. It's not
Yeah.
important. So,
Right. I agree.
I don't know. I'm just like, they're building up Gunther. I like that they swapped. Like, they have the Intercontinental Champion on Raw, and they have Austin Theory, the U.S. Champion, on SmackDown. Like, I'm glad that they flip-flopped that.
Yeah.
But they're still doing, like, the same old Judgment Day stuff, and I'm like, I'm bored. Do something else, please. Like,
Yeah.
I
They'll
don't know.
definitely need to switch something with that too.
Well, and the whole thing is, like,
they definitely need
the
to
bloodline,
do some switch ups.
the bloodline storyline is continuing still. So everything else around that and outside of it, we need variety as our audience, because the way of the world and the entertainment industry anymore is like, we need something fresh and something new. Otherwise, if it's stale and we're
Yes.
bored, I'm gonna go watch AEW instead. I'm not saying
Tuning
like
out.
me.
Right.
I'm gonna tune out. Yeah, it's obnoxious.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I agree.
That
I agree.
you had your rant with the Sixers. That was my rant with wrestling, like with WWE, because I'm just like, as much as we talk about it a lot on here, I'm just kind of like, I don't have a lot to say, and it's,
We're both two like amateur wrestling fans, but we're casual in the point that we want to be entertained in this aspect, and I think we both feel that like the entertainment factor is within these last couple months post WrestleMania. It's like, okay, what are you doing in this fact to keep us entertained with the fact that you're keeping the belt on Roman, and so you're not giving us enough fruition to be like, okay, this is where we're possibly going, but you got to give us time to let this simmer and everything. But like, they're not giving us that type of vibe. It's more like you're like, we don't know where they're going with this, so it's like we're just waiting Monday after Monday to Monday to see if this thing's going to keep on doing the same thing. And like with the whole tag team thing, and again, I'm okay with the slow burn and trying to pull this out until next WrestleMania, but you have to keep us entertained in the same fact. You just can't have lackluster matches and pointless matches that are not going to matter weeks in on weeks in and out. So it's like, this is part of the process of being a wrestling fan, where it's like, all right, I'm not liking what I'm watching right now, so I'm just going to tune out until something really happens. But then when you're tuning out, that's when something happens. You're like, oh crap, I wish I would have watched.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, and when I say I think for me, I know for me, like them, like they're trying to make the world heavyweight belt, like the new title, like important.
Yeah, I mean that's their biggest thing right now. So I mean that's the
their,
only thing they're worried about right now.
It's their crutch, and I'm just kind of like,
yes,
I feel like I said, 10, 15 minutes ago, maybe I was like, if you didn't make it so obvious that Seth wasn't winning this belt, I would be more interested. I'd be like, okay, cool. But because it's Seth versus AJ, and I'm like, okay, AJ doesn't want to be a main guy. He wants to just do the OC thing with Gallows and Anderson and be like, yep, we're doing this. And he's just having fun doing like slight work. He doesn't want to be like a
Yeah.
head guy. And Seth wants to be. And I'm like, this is why I'm not interested, because I'm like, someone tell me what happens at Night of Champions. And like, I'm not even interested in watching the match at this point. It's unfortunate because like, I think it'll be a good match, but I'm also like, it's just, if somebody held the money in the briefcase and there was a chance of someone cashing in on that match, then I'd be like, yeah, I'm tuning in just in case, because that would be intriguing from, an entertainment and audience perspective. I'd be like, I'm totally down. Perfect. Let's do this. But, cool. Wow. We really ranted about the things. And again, last week was like the Rocco's watch along, and we haven't talked about sports and wrestling in some time. So, yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add on top of all of this before we wrap up?
I think that's just going to be the title. I think that's just going to be the title of this episode, Rant. Because we just did a whole bunch of ranting on the fact that, the Sixers just need to, dump everything and just rebuild again. And, because this whole process was just not successful for what they thought. The whole system was just a big fail, unfortunately. And it sucks that we had to waste 5 to 10 years of watching this team tank every year in order to get, draft picks that didn't even work out. And maybe only 1 or 2 of them are still here. And, we only have good hopes about the Eagles. And then we hope, we get a little more entertainment out of the WrestleMania, out of the wrestling community. So hopefully these rants will shock the airwaves.
Time will tell, right?
But yeah, guys, you know where to hit us up if you have any questions, concerns. You guys want to personally come and talk to us, hit us up on our Gmail, onesetpod@gmail.com. You can hit us up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, @onesetpod. Like and subscribe on YouTube. You can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you catch your podcasts. But the video podcast right here on YouTube, always every Friday. And so this has been another episode of One Set, and we hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed my buddy Anthony here speaking and exercising his freedom of speech, we do that way more casually on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/ patreon.com/ One Set Pod. We
That's
do
right.
Extra content. We do watch alongs. If you are in our highest tier, you get to watch in real time with us and comment how you.
That's right.
Like your reaction to whatever we're doing our watch along with, right? So
yeah,
for all of our patrons, we love and appreciate you. For all of our fans that tune in at any time, it's May 16th. It's 12:30 in the morning, May 16th, 2023. 23. It could be many, many years from now that you're tuning in. Thank you. Know that we're here. And hit us up however you can. Anthony just mentioned all of our audio and YouTube, and we mentioned our email, and we mentioned our Patreon.
Yes.
I think that's about it, right?
Oh yeah, don't forget to support our merch store. Go pick up some merch. Got t-shirts, hoodies. We're gonna be putting out a couple new merch items very soon. We're working on some designs, so make sure you guys check that out. Support the pod, and again, thank you all for the love and support. We'll see you all guys on the next one.